catch a scripture, beat down. If you wanna fight, see what we building here, not call this a construction site.
We have a good lesson today. Alright? What we're going to be going into, we're going to be going into the testament of Job. There's a lot of speculations, or you would have a lot of other Hebrew Israelites would say, well, you know, Job is a black man. What scripture would say that my skin is black upon?
Job 30.
Yeah, there's a scripture, I think Job 30 and 30, where it says, my skin is black upon me. And brothers and sisters would read that and say, well, look, he's an Israelite. He's a black man. No, he's not. And I'm going to prove it in the scriptures. Not only prove that, but I'm also going to prove that even Job was even in Egypt when the children of Israel was in Egypt. I'm going to prove that. Okay? Then I'm gonna also go into to show that even Job had to even go to the children of Israel to make even sacrifices or atonements for his children, and even for the his three friends then that came and started persecuting him during the time that he was going through his affliction. I'm gonna go into all that, but first we're gonna just start off in the book of Jasher. For those who are not familiar with the book of Jasher, this is the book of Jasher, all right? It's called Jasher means upright, okay? So it's the book of the upright ones. This is a record of our forefathers, all right? The book of Jasher is in the it's mentioned in the Bible in Joshua and 2 Samuel, all right? We're going to go into Jasher, and we're going to see, we're going to be able to get Job, see that Job was in Egypt with the children of Israel. And actually, Job was actually the one that made certain decrees against the children of Israel. He was a counselor for the Pharaoh. Okay? So, follow me, stick with me, and let's get this information, let's get some edification. Actually, this is going to actually be a two-part lesson. So I'm not going to be able to finish it all today. Next week, hopefully by the grace of the Most High, we can be able to finish it off. But we're going to try to get as much of it done today, and then we'll be able to finish off the rest next week. Okay? All right. Those who don't have the book of Jasher, and you do have a cell phone, go to the book of Jasher on you can Google it, all right? If those already have it saved in their phone or bookmark, go there immediately, and you can go to chapter 66. Book of Jasher, chapter 66, and we're going to start from the first verse. Okay?
The first verse?
Yeah. Book of Jasher. The book of Jasher, chapter 66, the first verse. Okay? And mind you, you got a lot of other Israelite groups that don't believe in this. Like, they don't believe in these, you know, extra biblical texts. But as I said, this is mentioned in the Bible. Okay? I think.
You want me to read that scripture?
Yeah.
Joshua?
Yeah, I want to go to Joshua.
Joshua 10 and 13.
10 and 14, right? Read that.
Joshua 10 and 13. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher?
Is this not written in what?
In the book of Jasher.
In the book of Jasher. This is the book of Jasher. Okay? The upright. The upright ones. Okay? The book of the upright. Alright? There's another, what is it? 1 Samuel 1 and 18, I believe? Or 2 Samuel? Yeah, give me that one too. If I'm not mistaken.
Second Samuel 1:18. Also he bade them teach the children of Judah the use of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher.
Read that again.
2 Samuel 1:18. Also he bade them teach the children of Judah the use of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher.
So you can read in the book of Jasher how the children of Israel learned how to use a bow and arrow. It's written in this book. When the Bible just gives you an overview, the book of Jasher goes into detail. When you want to know the reason why Cain killed Abel, you would read the book of Jasher, and it goes into detail, where the Bible only gives you an overview. When you want to hear about any other story concerning, in the Old Testament or in the Torah, you can go into the book of Jasher and be able to get that in full detail. Okay? So this is why we're going to be going into the book of Jasher. It's an extra biblical text, and it's actually records from the forefathers. Alright? It's not just some book that was popped up on the scene that somebody was wrote and saying, yeah. No. It correlates with the Bible. Corroborates with the Bible, and they go together. Alright? Book of Jasher, chapter 66, and we're going to start at the first verse. Mind you, we're going to be doing a lot of reading. Alright? So, follow me, please.
Book of Jasher, chapter 66, verse 1. At that time died Hadad, the son of Bedad, king of Edom, and Samlah from Mesrekah, from the country of the children of the east, reigned in his place.
Okay, so this is saying Bedad, the king of Edom. During this time, Edom had kings. Okay, and we're going to go into the Bible to prove that after we come out, we're going to leave Joshua for a while and go into the Bible and show you that Edom had kings even before the children of Israel started having kings. All right, continue.
In the 13th year of the reign of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, which was the 125th year of the Israelites going down into Egypt, Samlah had reigned over Edom 18 years. And when he reigned, he drew forth his host to go and fight against Zepho, the son of Eliphaz, and the children of Chittim, because they had made war against Angus, king of Africa, and they destroyed his army, his whole army. But he did not engage with him, for the children of Esau prevented him, saying, he was their brother. So Samlah listened to the voice of the children of Esau, and turned back with all his forces to the land of Edom, and did not proceed to fight against Zepho, the son of Eliphaz. And Pharaoh, king of Egypt, heard this thing, saying, Samlah, king of Edom, has resolved to fight the children of Shittim, and afterward he will come to fight against Egypt. And when the Egyptians heard this matter, they increased the labor upon the children of Israel, lest the Israelites should do unto them as they did unto them in their war with the children of Esau in the days of Hadad. So the Egyptians said unto the children of Israel, hasten and do your work, and finish your task, and strengthen the land, lest the children of Esau, your brethren, should come to fight against us. For on your account will they come against us.
Okay, so the children of Israel was in Egypt at this time. And at this time, you have the Egyptians. They were at one time doing labor with the children of Israel. They were all together working, building up Egypt. And then one by one, the Egyptians then started removing themselves and became taskmasters over the children of Israel. To the point now, it's just the children of Israel. They were the only ones there doing all the work. So now the Egyptians heard that Zepho wanted to come and fight against Egypt, and the Egyptians used that tactic to make the children of Israel work harder, because they're saying, okay, you guys got to work harder and build up the land, because Esau, the children of Esau, your brethren, they're going to come over here and try to fight us because you guys are here. Okay? So they were using this tactic now to try to get the children of Israel to be able to fortify Egypt in such a way where if Esau, the children of Esau or Zepho would come against them, at least they'll be ready to fight. Alright, so this is where they were, you know, slaving the children of Israel, like giving them hard labor and a hard bondage. Okay? Let's get more. Continue.
Joshua 66, verse 8. And the children of Israel did the work of the men of Egypt day by day, and the Egyptians afflicted the children of Israel in order to lessen them in the land.
And it was also a plan to destroy the children of Israel, to depopulate them. Because at that time, the more hard work they were giving the children of Israel to do, the more children that they were having, the more they were multiplying. They thought that the more work that they would give them, the more tired that they would be, to the point where they wouldn't even want to lay down with their wives. But it was actually the opposite. You worked them hard, they went home and they wanted to see their wives even more. After every day being, you have a job and the boss is working you so hard every day. The place that you want to see is home. To know that, okay, that I'm a king in my castle. I got my wife, I got my children, I can do whatever I want to do there. I don't got to be doing any hard labor there. All right, so this is what was happening when the Egyptians then was actually trying to give the children of Israel more work to do, thinking that would lessen them, that would make them stop multiplying, but actually they multiplied even more. Continue.
Joshua 66 and 9. But as the Egyptians increased the labor upon the children of Israel, so did the children of Israel increase and multiply. And all Egypt was filled with the children of Israel.
Everywhere you were going in Egypt, everywhere you went in Egypt, there was the children of Israel. Even though they got Goshen for themselves, the children of Israel, like, they were all over in Egypt, because they were the ones that was building up the land. So there was never a place that you could not go in Egypt and not see one of the children of Israel. They were all over Egypt. Read.
And in the 125th year of Israel's going down into Egypt, all the Egyptians saw that their counsel did not succeed against Israel, but that they increased and grew. And the land of Egypt and the land of Goshen were filled with the children of Israel.
So you had all the wise men of Egypt used to come together and say, what can we do to stop them from multiplying? What is it? What plan do you got over here? What plan do you got over there? These people are still multiplying. No matter how much hard bondage, no matter how much work we're putting on them, they're still multiplying. What can we do? And everything that they tried to do against the children of Israel, it never worked. They kept on multiplying in the land. To the point this was frustrating the Egyptians. They didn't know what else to do. Read.
So all the elders of Egypt and its wise men came before the king and bowed down to him and sat before him.
So now you have all the elders now of Egypt and all the wise men, you're the one that works divination and witchcraft, your philosophers that, that they know everything in the land. They're the ones, they counsel the king and tell the king exactly how to run the place, what to do. Read.
And all the elders of Egypt and the wise men thereof said unto the king, May the king live forever. Thou didst counsel us the counsel against the children of Israel, and we did unto them according to the word of the king. But in the proportion to the increase of the labor, so did they increase and grow in the land. And behold, the whole country is filled with them.
All Egypt was filled with the children of Israel. Read.
Now therefore, our Lord and King, the eyes of all Egypt are upon thee to give them advice with thy wisdom. by which they may prevail over Israel to destroy them, or to diminish them from the land. And the king answered them, saying, Give you counsel in this matter, that we may know what to do unto them. And an officer, one of the king's counselors, whose name was Job.
Whose name was what?
Whose name was Job.
Whose name was Job. Job's name actually, when you go into Genesis 36, actually hold that. Go to Genesis 36. Hold Joshua. Don't come out of Joshua.
36:31.
Go to Genesis 36:31. Read that.
Genesis 36, verse 31. And these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom, before there reigned any king over the land of Israel.
So the children of Edom already had kings set up before the children of Israel had kings over them. Edom already had kings. There are already kings and dukes and all of that. Okay, read.
And Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom. And the name of his city was Dinhabah. And Bela died. And Jobab, the son of Zerah of Bozrah, reigned in his stead.
That same Jobab, that's Job. The Most High shortened it. The Most High called him Job. And we're going to see that. We're going to see that when we go into the testimony of Job. The Most High was actually the one that gave him the name Job. But his name by birth was Jobab. We're going to prove it. Don't worry. We're going to prove it. Okay? Continue. Actually, start over from the verse that you left. And now, go back to the book of Joshua. Start from the verse that you left off.
Okay. Joshua 66, verse 15. And an officer, one of the king's counselors, whose name was Job, from Mesopotamia, in the land of Uz.
In the land of Uz. Right? When you go into Job, the first chapter, the first verse, it tells you that Job came out of the land of Uz. When you go into the testament of Job, it tells you that as well. Same Jobab. Same Jobab is the same one that we read about in Genesis 36 and 31, in Job 1, in the book of Joshua. This is the same Job. This is the same Job. Okay? Read.
Saying, If it please the king, let him hear the counsel of his servant. And the king said unto him, Speak. And Job spoke before the king, the princes, and before all the elders of Egypt, saying, Behold, the counsel of the king, which he advised formerly respecting the labor of the children of Israel, is very good. And you must not remove from them that labor forever.
So this is Job now giving counsel to the king. He's giving counsel to the king of Egypt at that time concerning the children of Israel. Showing them, okay, this is what you got to do now if you really want to lessen these people or start depopulating these people or diminishing them. Read that again. Start from the verse again.
Job 66 and 18. Behold, the counsel of the king which he advised formerly respecting the labor of the children of Israel is very good, and you must not remove from them that labor forever.
So Job is telling the king, don't remove the labor from them forever. You got to keep on sticking it to them. You got to keep on giving them this hard bondage, this hard labor. Read.
But this is the advice counseled by which you may lessen them.
But this is how you're going to be able to depopulate them. This is how you're going to stop them from multiplying. Read.
If it seems good to the king to afflict them, behold, we have feared war for a long time. And we said, when Israel becomes fruitful in the land, they will drive us from the land if a war should take place.
Read. 21st.
If it please the king, let a royal decree go forth, and let it be written in the laws of Egypt.
So Job is telling the king now, let there be a royal decree going forth from you, O king, into the land of Egypt concerning the children of Israel. A decree, everybody got the decree, everybody got to take heed to the decree. When a decree goes out, you can't act like you don't hear it. you don't do it, there's going to be punishment. Continue.
If it please the king, let a royal decree go forth, and let it be written in the laws of Egypt, which shall not be revoked.
Which shall not be revoked. Meaning that this is going to be a law that's going to be there forever. Read.
That every male child born to the Israelites, his blood shall be spilled upon the ground.
So this was a law and a decree only to the children of Israel. The children of the Egyptians, this law didn't affect. Only to the children of Israel. Every male that's born should be killed. His blood should be spilled upon the ground. That was the decree, that the counsel that Job gave to the king of Egypt at that time. Read.
And by your doing this, when all the male children of Israel shall have died, the evil of their wars will cease. Let the king do so, and send for all the Hebrew midwives, and order them in this matter to execute it. So the thing pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Job.
Okay, stop right there. Now, I'm not trying to say, well, disprove what the Bible says about Job, about him being an upright man. Don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to show you that Job was there in Egypt with the children of Israel. And at one point, he even made a counsel concerning them. But Job learned, and he was able to change from that, and we're going to see. Because after when the children of Israel came out of Egypt, remember, Egypt was done. When we came out of Egypt, that was done. All of Pharaoh's army was in the Red Sea as shark food. No, Egypt was nothing. Nobody, whoever was wise or whoever was a counselor, left. Because it was done. The Most High plummeted it to the ground because of us. Okay? There's more. Let's go to Job, the first chapter and the first verse. Job 1:1. Actually, before we go there, one moment. Let's go back into the book of Joshua. Go to 67 for me. Go to chapter 67.
Yeah.
67 and the 24th verse.
The book of Joshua.
Actually, you can start at the 20th verse. Book of Joshua, chapter 67, 20th verse. And you can read to verse, read to verse 24.
The book of Joshua, chapter 67, verse 20. Now therefore, O king, take counsel upon this matter, that you may destroy the hope of the children of Israel and their expectation before this evil arise against Egypt. And the king said unto Balaam, and what shall we do unto Israel? Surely after a certain manner did we at first counsel against them, and could not prevail over them. Now therefore give you also advice against them, by which we may prevail over them. And Balaam answered the king, saying, send now and call thy 2 counselors, and we will see what their advice is upon this matter, and afterward thy servant will speak. And the king sent and called his 2 counselors, Ruel the Midianite and Job the Azite. And they came and sat before the king.
the king sent and called his 2 counselors. One was called Ruel, the Midianite, and Job, the Uzite. Ruel was actually Jethro. Who knows who Jethro was? That's right. All right, Jethro was the father of Moses' wife. Jethro was also one of the counselors, along with Job, to the king of Egypt during the time when the children of Israel was doing a hard bondage in Egypt. Okay, let's go to Job 1:1. Let's stay. I'm not going to go into Jethro.
Job 1:1. There was a man in the land of Uz, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared the Most High, and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east.
So Job was the greatest of all the men of the east. Okay? Whoever that was in the east, wherever Job was dwelling, Job was greater than all of them. He was the king in his land. And he was dwelling in the land of Uz, which is in Bozrah. And he was greater than any man that was there. Read.
And his sons went and feasted in their houses, everyone his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so. And when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed the Most High in their hearts. Thus did Job continue.
Job offered burnt offerings for his sons and his daughters. Who was doing burnt offerings in the Bible? The children of Israel, right? Was God told to eat them? No, right? So you would see, when you read this, you look and ask yourself, wow, so who was Job going to offer these burnt offerings for his sons and his daughters? And we're going to find out, especially when we go into the Testament of Job, it was actually the children of Israel, because during that time, when Job came from out of Egypt and he went back into Uz, his land, he was a king. When you read Genesis 36 and 31, it tells you that he was a king in that land before there was any king over the children of Israel. Job was actually going to the children of Israel, was going to the Levites, the priests, to make burnt offerings, not only for his sons and his daughters, but also his friends. And when we read in the book of the Testament of Job, it's going to tell you that his 3 friends that came, especially during the times of affliction, he had to make burnt offerings for them so that the Most High would receive them. Read. Some people would think that when you read this and you read in Job, especially when you go to the 8th verse and you see the 8th verse where the Most High said he's upright and there's nobody hidden, there was nobody upright like Job or perfect like him in all the earth. And it's not saying that Job was the only righteous man in the earth. When you go into the Testament of Job, you're going to see Job's attributes. You are seeing the things that he was doing. Job was very hospitable. Job would have strangers then who he don't even know come into his house, and he'd make them lodge and feed them and send them away with great substance. No other man on the earth was doing the things he was doing. It didn't say that he was the only righteous man in the earth. It says that no other man was like him in the earth. Meaning the things that he was doing, not everybody was doing that. Okay, but continue. I'm going somewhere with this. Continue where you left off.
Job chapter 1 verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Most High.
So the sons of God are the angels. Okay, the sons of God are not the sons of Seth. They're the angels. Read.
Came to present themselves before the Most High. And Satan came also among them.
At this time, Satan still had access through the portals to go into the heavens. The scripture tells us that Satan is the accuser of the brethren. Before Christ ascended up into the heavens, Satan always had access through the portals there to go up to the Most High to try to accuse us before the Father day and night. To say to the Father, well, you know what? If you do this to him, he'll curse you, he'll turn his back on you. Always there before the Father, making an accusation against us. And this is what Satan did against Job. Read.
And Satan came also among them. And the Most High said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Most High and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
So the Most High seen him, know that he's unrighteous, know that he was kicked out in the heavens, but he still got access. He can still come into the heavens through the portals. Because it was only when Christ went up into heaven, when Christ said, listen, all power is given unto me in heaven and earth, Satan's access got cut off. He had no more access to go through the portals to come before the throne of the Most High. So at this time, the Most High seen him and it was like, what are you doing here? Well, you know, I've been walking up and down in the earth, going to and fro. Okay? Read.
And the Most High said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job?
You see Job down there? You see my servant Job? You see how righteous he is? Read.
That there is none like him in the earth.
There's nobody like Job in the earth. There's nobody who has Job's hospitality. There's nobody who gives like Job. There's nobody who's feared like Job. Job didn't deal with treachery or deceit. Read.
A perfect and upright man, one that feareth the Most High, and eschewed evil. Then Satan answered the Most High and said, Does Job fear the Most High for naught?
Does Job fear God for nothing? This is the question Satan is asking the Most High. Listen, he's fearing you because of what you're giving him. And this is the accusation now he's going to come against. This is the accusation that he's going to come and use against Job now to the Most High. I'm not going to go into all of that. I just wanted to give a brief overview of Job and just to get that understanding that some people look and say, well, man, Job was perfect. Or Job was only the righteous one in all the earth. That's not what it says. What it's saying, there's none like him in the earth. There's nobody that had his attributes. Because at that time, the children of Israel, you got Moses leading the children of Israel. Moses was righteous. Okay? Let's go into the testament of Job. Let's get the full understanding of who Job was. Let's see his hospitality. Okay? Follow me to the testament of Job. You can get it. You can Google it. There's a PDF. There's one that you can get at the Wesley Center online. You know, other different avenues that you can get the testament of Job. So whichever one you choose, follow it. I'm using the Wesley Center online one if you want, but whichever one you use, it says the same thing. They're all saying the same thing. Right? So the testament of Job, and we're going to start at chapter 1, verse 1.
The Testament of Job, chapter 1, verse 1. On the day he became sick, and he knew that he would have to leave his bodily abode, he called his 7 sons and his 3 daughters together and spake to them as follows. Form a circle around me, children, and hear, and I shall relate to you what the Most High did for me and all that happened to me. For I am Job your father. And know ye then, my children, that you are the generation of a chosen one, and take heed of your noble birth.
So this is before Job. This is after Job's affliction. This is when Job is in his old age. The Most High gave him a double portion of life. And now he's falling sick now to the point where he's going to give up the ghost. And this is now the children that he's had by his second wife. Okay, and we're going to see who's his second wife. We're going to see who he was. But I want you to read the third verse for me again.
Chapter 1, verse 3. Chapter 1, verse 3. For I am Job, your father. Know ye then, my children, that you are the generation of a chosen one, and take heed of your noble birth.
Wait, read.
For I am of the sons of Esau. My brother is Nahor, and your mother is Dinah.
Your mother is Dinah. Okay? So this is the same Dinah that was the sister of the 12 tribes. If you guys remember the story going back into Genesis, when Shechem raped Dinah, and then you had Simeon and Levi went up in there and slaughtered that whole tribe, made them circumcise themselves and everything, and slaughtered all of them when they were circumcised, so I couldn't fight. Right? This is the same Dinah that Job is with. Read.
By her have I become your father.
By her have I become your father. These children was not actually Job's children. They were actually Dinah's children by another man. But because when you read the third verse for me again.
For I am Job your father. Know ye then, my children, that you are the generation of a chosen one, and take heed of your noble birth.
They are a generation of a chosen one. Deuteronomy 7 and 6. The Most High chose the children of Israel out of all the other nations of the earth. Esau wasn't a chosen seed. It was Jacob. From Abraham, Isaac down to Jacob. So these children was actually Dinah's children, but Job became father to them. This is why he's telling them now before he gives up the ghost. He's telling them exactly, listen, you're special, you're special. You're more special than me. Okay? Read the 5th verse for me,
For I am of the sons of Esau. My brother is Nahor, and your mother is Dinah.
So Job is actually telling them now exactly his line, who he's from. He's from Esau. So any Israelite group now that you see putting it out there that, well, look, he said that his skin is black upon him. Yeah, when you have sores all over your body, what color does those sores turn when they turn scabby? They're black. When the scabs them come off, what mark does it leave? A white mark? Right? This is what Job was meaning when he said, my skin is black upon me. Because at that time, all the sores, when they were starting to scab, was all black. Because he had the sores covering his whole body. Okay? Read verse 5 for me again.
Testament of Job, chapter 1, verse 5. For I am of the sons of Esau.
He is of the lineage of Esau. Read.
My brother is Nahor, and your mother is Dinah.
And your mother is Dinah. Read.
By her have I become your father.
Because I got with her, I became your father. I took her to my wife, and I became your father through that. Read.
For my first wife died with my other 10 children in bitter death.
And we can read all about that in the book of Job in the Bible. Right? But we're going to read about that also in the Testament of Job as well. Read.
Hear now, children, I will reveal unto you what happened to me.
So this is Job now. He's telling them now all that happened to him, all the affliction that he went into, how he was rich. He was high, and he became very low. Okay, read.
I was a very rich man living in the east, in the land of
Ascites. Or Uz. It says Uz, but it's actually Uz. Okay, read.
And before the Most High had named me Job, I was called Jobab.
What? Read that again.
And before the Most High had made me Job, I was called Jobab.
Genesis 36 and 31. This same Jobab that we read in Genesis is actually Job. The Most High gave him the name Job. Read that again. Start from the 8th verse. Start from the beginning.
Testament of Job, chapter 1, verse 8. I was a very rich man living in the east, in the land of Esau. And before the Most High had made me Job, I was called Jobab. The beginning of my trial was thus. Near my house there was the idol of one worshipped by the people. And I saw constantly burnt offerings brought to him as a god. Then I pondered and said to myself, is this he who made heaven and earth, the sea and us all? How will I know the truth?
So Job is living in his land, and there's a place, there's a house near to his house, and he's seen people flowing into his house offering burnt sacrifice to this God. So Job is like, hold on, is this the God that made heaven and earth? Let's find out. Read.
And in the night, as I lay asleep, a voice came and called, Jobab, Jobab, rise up, and I will tell thee who is the one whom thou wishest to know. This, however, to whom the people bring burnt offerings and libations is not the Most High.
It's not God. Read.
But this is the power and work of the seducer, Satan, by which he beguiles the people.
He was deceiving the people. He had these people worshiping him, even a false idol, a statue, bringing burnt offering to this image, and letting the people them know this is God. This is how Satan beguiles people and deceives them. Read.
And when I heard this, I fell upon the earth, and I prostrated myself, saying, O my Lord, who speakest for the salvation of my soul, I pray thee, if this is the idol of Satan, I pray thee, let me go hence and destroy it and purify the spot. For there is none that can forbid me doing this, as I am the king of this land, so that those that live in it will no longer be led astray.
So right away when Job got that revelation that this was actually paganism going on here, Job was like, listen, Most High, I'm the king of this land. I'm gonna go destroy, I'm gonna take this now. Because this ain't gonna be leading my people astray. Read.
And the voice that spoke out of the flame answered to me, thou canst purify the spot. But behold, I announce to thee what the Most High ordered me to tell thee, for I am the archangel of the Most High. And I said, whatever shall be told to his servant, I shall hear. And the archangel said to me, thus speaketh the Most High, if thou undertakest to destroy and takest away the image of Satan, he will set himself with wrath to wage war against thee.
So now you see where it all started? This is where it all started. Job started to tear down Satan's images and the groves that he was using to deceive the people, to make the people them start doing burnt offerings and offering sacrifices to these pagan gods. So because of that now, Satan started to wage war against Job. Started to go before the Most High to accuse Job. Read.
And he will display against thee all his malice. And he will bring upon thee many severe plagues, and take from thee all that thou hast. And he will take away thine children, and will inflict many evils upon thee. And then thou must wrestle like an athlete, and resist pain, and sure of thy reward, overcome trials and afflictions.
So the Most High told Job, listen, you're going to go through some stuff. You're gonna go through some stuff. So it's not like all of these things happened and Job didn't know what was going on, especially when you're reading in the Bible. As I said, the Bible only gives you an overview. When you go into the extra biblical text, such as the book of Joshua, right, or even the Testament of Job, they go into actual details. The Testament of Job was actually a testament that Job wrote about himself, about his life. Right? Just like when you have have the testament of the 12 patriarchs. Benjamin, Reuben, Levi, Issachar, all the children of the 12 tribes. All right, read.
But when thou endurest, I shall make thy name renowned throughout all generations of the earth until the end of the world.
Job did endure. This is why we're speaking about Job right now. This is prophecy being fulfilled. Read.
And I shall restore thee to all that thou hadst had, and the double part of what thou shalt lose will be given to thee, in order that thou mayest know that the Most High does not consider the person, but giveth to each who deserveth the good. And also to thee shall it be given, and thou shalt put on a crown of amaranth, and at the resurrection thou shalt awaken for eternal life. Then thou shalt know that thou shalt know that the Lord is just and true and mighty. Whereupon my children, I replied.
When you go into the book of Joshua, just like when we went into the 66th chapter, the 67th chapter, when you read on in the book of Joshua, it tells you how Ruel, which is actually Jethro, was able to take the stick, Joseph's stick, and leave Egypt and put it in his garden in the land of Midian. All right, Ruel or Jethro was actually was Abraham's seed. Came from Abraham's second wife, Keturah. You can read that in Genesis 25. After the fall of Egypt, both Job and Ruel left out first, Job left out after, came out of the land and saw the power of the children of Israel and saw the power of the Most High God. This is what set Job straight. This is what made Job righteous when he went back into us. Job actually saw the power of the Most High and started worshiping the God of the Hebrews. This is why Job is, how we're reading about him right now, and how we're going to see how blessed the Most High made him. Even though when we read in the book of Joshua that he made counsel against the children of Israel to destroy them, or to lessen them, or stopping them from multiplying upon the face of the earth, or in Egypt. We see his past, but now we're looking at his future. And all of this now is because he saw the great thing that happened, how the Most High was working through Moses, and how he brought out the children of Israel and crushed Pharaoh and his army, and totally crushed that whole Egyptian dynasty. Start off from where you left off in the Testament of Job.
Testament of Job, chapter 1, verse 27. Whereupon my children, I replied, I shall from the love of the Most High endure until death all that will come upon me, and I shall not shrink back. Then the angel put his seal upon me and left me. Chapter 2. After this I rose up in the night and took 50 slaves and went to the temple of the idol and destroyed it to the ground. And so I went back to my house and gave orders that the door should be firmly locked.
I know when brother just read that one, and when Job took 50 slaves, I'm sure automatically us being Hebrews are thinking, man, who are these slaves? They were not the children of Israel. These slaves was actually other men from other countries, including Job's own kin or kind. So it was not at that time the children of Israel as slaves. Okay, but I'm sure that's the first thing that would come to one's mind when you see that you have 50 slaves. Okay, there you go again. There's Esau. You know, look, it doesn't stop. Right? But it's not like that. Read. Start from the second verse.
And I went back to my house and gave orders that the door should be firmly locked, saying to my doorkeepers, if somebody shall ask for me, bring no report to me, but tell him, he investigates urgent affairs, he is inside.
So after Job went and destroyed his temple, Job went back home and locked his door and said, listen, anybody come knocking my door, let them know that I'm busy. Okay, I'm inside doing urgent business. Okay, read.
Then Satan disguised himself as a beggar and knocked heavily at the door, saying to the doorkeeper.
No wonder the Bible says that even Satan at times disguises himself as an angel of light. Satan can take on any kind of shape. He can turn himself into whoever he wants to turn himself to. Right here in Job, he's disguising himself as a beggar. And when you read on throughout, you're going to see how many shapes he takes on to try to deceive the people that he comes amongst. Read.
Report to Job and say that I desire to meet him.
So now the doorkeeper is opening the door, and Satan is like, go get Job, tell him I want to meet him. Read.
And the doorkeeper came in and told me that, but heard from me that I was studying. So
Job told him, listen, I'm studying, I'm busy. Read.
The evil one, having failed in this, went away and took upon his shoulder an old torn basket, and went in and spoke to the doorkeeper, saying, tell Job, give me bread from thine hands, that I may eat. And when I heard this, I gave her burnt bread to give it to him. And I made known to him, expect not to eat of my bread, for it is forbidden to thee.
So when Satan told the doorkeeper, listen, tell Job that I want some bread, Job was like, no problem. Job went to the fire, got a loaf of bread, and burnt it crisp. Burnt it crisp. Just like when you burn toast, you forget it, burnt it purposely. And said, listen, give it to him. And let him know. This is forbidden to eat. Okay? It's forbidden to eat. Expect not to eat this bread. Okay? Read.
But the doorkeeper, being ashamed to hand him the burnt and ashy bread, as she did not know that it was Satan, took of her own fine bread and gave it to him.
So this was Job's own servant that didn't even listen to what Job was telling her to do. She's seeing the burnt bread in her hand, and she's seen Satan at the door disguised as a beggar. She's like, hold up. You can't give this man this burnt bread like this. Why are you going to give the man burnt bread? And she now, thinking that she's wise in her own eyes, not listening to what her master is telling her to do, go and get her own nice, perfect, and fresh bread and give it to Satan. Let's see what happens. Read.
But he took it, and knowing what occurred, said to the maiden, go hence, bad servant, and bring me the bread that was given to thee to hand to me.
See, so Satan put her on spot and said, listen, what are you doing? You should have listened to your master. The same bread that your master gives to me, go get it and come bring it back to me, because you're a bad servant. Right there, because of her own folly was exposed, and that, you see how Satan was able to play off of that. Her disobedience was actually a sin. Yep. That was a door now she opened up to where Satan was able to see right through her and totally expose her. Just because she didn't listen to what was told of her to do. Simple thing like that. She thought what she was, and she thought that actually what she was doing was actually right. Not knowing that that was actually a sin. Read.
And the servant cried and spoke in grief, thou speakest the truth, saying that I am a bad servant, because I have not done as I was instructed by my master.
See? Read.
And he turned back and brought him the burnt bread, and said to him, thus says my Lord, that thou shalt not eat of my bread any more, for it is forbidden to thee. So
now the servant now was giving Satan now the burnt bread with the message. Yeah, Job said, you're not going to eat, you can't eat of this bread. It's forbidden thee. Read.
And this he gave me, saying, this I give in order that the charge may not be brought against me, that I did not give to the enemy who asked. And when Satan heard this, he sent back the servant to me, saying, as thou seest this bread all burnt, so shall I soon burn thy body to make it like this.
My skin is black upon me. Read.
And I replied, do what thou desirest to do, and accomplish whatever thou plottest, for I am ready to endure whatever thou bringest upon me. And when the devil heard this, he left me, And walking up to under the highest heaven, he took from the Most High the oath that he might have power over all my possessions. And after having taken the power, he went and instantly took away all my wealth.
And you're going to see when we go into chapter 3, we're going to see how rich Job was. Job was rich. I'm telling you, nobody had substance like Job. Read.
Testament of Job, chapter 3, verse 1. For I had 130,000 sheep, and one of these I separated 7,000 for the clothing of orphans and widows.
How much sheep did he have?
130,000 sheep.
130,000 sheep. Read.
And of these I separated 7,000 for the clothing of orphans and widows and of needy and sick ones.
You see how hospitable he was? He was given to orphans, to widows, to the needy and the sick ones. Have you seen my servant Job? That there is none like him in the earth? This is what the Most High was talking about. What he was doing, nobody else was doing what he was doing. His hospitality, no other man was doing that. And I would even say, not even anybody amongst the children of Israel at that time, to tell you the truth. The children of Israel was learning now. They were in the wilderness, taking down cities one after the other now, doing the laws, statutes, and commandments, and keeping themselves holy, and trying to acquire the land that the Most High promised to Abraham. Read.
I had a herd of 800 dogs who watch my sheep, and besides these 200 to watch my house. I had 9 mills working for the whole city, and ships to carry goods. I sent them into every city and into villages, to the feeble and sick, and to those that were unfortunate. And I had 340,000 nomadic asses, and of these I set aside 500, and the offspring of these I ordered to be sold, and the proceeds to be given to the poor and the needy. For from all the lands the poor came to meet me. For the 4 doors of my house were open, each being in charge of a watchman who had to see whether there was any people coming asking alms, and whether they would see me sitting at one of the doors, so that they could leave through the other and take whatever they needed.
So people were coming to Job, coming to his house, coming to one door, getting whatever they needed, and leaving to a next door with a whole bunch of substance. Job would never make a stranger come to him and meet him and leave empty-handed. That was unlike him. Read.
I also had 30 immovable tables set at all hours for the strangers alone, and I also had 12 tables spread for the widows. And if anyone came asking for alms, he found food on my table to take all he needed, and I turned nobody away to leave my door with an empty stomach.
Continue.
I also had 3,500 yokes of oxen, and I selected of these 500 and had them tend to the plowing. And with these I had done all the work in each field by those who would take it in charge, and the income of their crops I laid aside for the poor on their table. I also had 50 bakeries from which I sent the bread to the table for the poor. I had slaves selected for their service. There were also some strangers who saw my goodwill. They wished to serve as waiters themselves.
Okay, so you had strangers that came amongst Job that they're like, listen, let me be your servant. Let me be your servant. You had strangers begging to be his servant. And when he had his slaves, it's not like he was having slaves beating them with whips. He was actually giving them a wage for actually their servitude. Read.
Others, being in distress and unable to obtain a living, came with the request, saying, we pray thee, since we also can fill this office of waiters, deacons, and have no possession, have pity on us, and advance money to us in order that we may go into the great cities and sell merchandise. and the surplus of our profit we may give as help to the poor, and then shall we return to thee thine own money. And when I heard this, I was glad that they should take this altogether from me for the husbandry of charity for the poor. And with a willing heart I gave them what they wanted, and I accepted their written bond, but would not take any other security from them except the written documents.
So Job would advance money to strangers who he didn't even know. Give them money, and just hearing them, okay, we're going to take this money to go do this to help out the poor, or to buy merchandise to give to the poor, and we'll pay you back when we be able to get whatever money we get back from that. And they didn't have to leave anything in security, but just a note. Just a note to say, listen, yeah, we promised to give you back your money. And that was it. And Job was satisfied with that. He didn't want nothing else. Read.
And they went abroad and gave to the poor as far as they were successful. Frequently, however, some of their goods were lost on the road or on the sea, or they would be robbed of them. Then they would come and say, we pray thee, act generously towards us, in order that we may see how we can restore to you thine own. And when I heard this, I had sympathy with them, and handed to them their bond, and often having read it before them, tore it up and released them of their debt, saying to them, what I have consecrated for the benefit of the poor I shall not take from you. And so I accepted nothing from my debtor. And when a man with cheerful heart came to me, saying, I am not in need to be compelled to be a paid worker for the poor, but I wish to serve the needy at thy table. And he consented to work, and he ate at his share. So I gave him his wages nevertheless, and I went home rejoicing. And when he did not wish to take it, I forced him to do so, saying, I know that thou art a laboring man who looks for and waits for his wages, and thou must take it.
So you had men wanting to work for Job to say, listen, let me work for you for free. Now tell me, you know that's not happening in this day and time. That's not happening. Not amongst none of us. Israelite, Spanish, you ain't working for free for nobody. And Job was, as I said, Job was so hospitable and so fair that people were like, listen, we will work for you for free. Just listen, just give me food to eat. That's it. And even though Job heard all that, he's like, nah, here's your wage, regardless. And if you don't want to take it, I'm going to force it in your hand. Take it. This is what the Most High was saying. There was nobody like Job in all the earth because of how he was. He was so hospitable and he was so fair. He didn't try to cheat anybody. He didn't try to use anybody. Read.
Never did I defer paying the wages of the hireling or any other, nor keep back in my house for a single evening his hire that was due to him. Those that milk the cows and the ewes signal to the passerbys that they should take their share, for the milk flowed in such plenty that it curled into butter on the hills and by the roadside.
So there was so much milk to the point where you didn't even have time to gather it up. The milk started to curdle up into cheese. The way the milk was, how plenty it was, abundance. That's why you can imagine now when the Most High told the children of Israel that I'm going to bring into a land flowing with milk and honey. And it's not just to say a land, he's saying that the livestock, the substance, the amount of livestock that you're going to have, it's going to be an abundance. And this was the same blessing that was able to come upon Job, to the point where he had milk curdling in the field before he could be able to gather it up and really store it in its proper place. Read.
For the milk flowed in such plenty that it curled into butter on the hills and by the roadside, and by the rocks and the hills the cattle lay which had given birth to their offspring. For my servants grew weary, keeping the meat of the widows and the poor, and dividing it into small pieces. For they would curse and say, "Oh, that we had of his flesh, that we could be satisfied," although I was very kind to them. I also had 6 harps, and 6 slaves to play the harps, and also a cithara, a decor, and I struck it during the day. And I took the cithara, and the widows responded after their meals. And with the musical instrument, I reminded them of the Most High, that they should give praise to the Most High. And when my female slaves would murmur, then I took the musical instruments and played as much as they would have done for their wages, and gave them respite from their labor and sigh. Chapter 4. And my children, after having taken charge of the service, took their meals each day along with their 3 sisters, beginning with the older brother, and made a feast. And I rose in the morning and offered as sin offering for them 50 rams and 19 sheep. And what remained as a residue was consecrated to the poor. And I said to them, "Take these as residue and pray for my children. Perchance my sons have sinned before the Most High, speaking in haughtiness of spirit. We are children of this rich man. Ours are all these goods. Why shouldst we be servants of the poor?" And speaking thus in haughty spirit, they may have provoked the anger of the Most High, for overbearing pride is an abomination before the Most High. So I brought oxen as offerings to the priests at the altar, saying,
Read that again.
So I brought oxen as offerings to the priests at the altar, saying, "May my children never think evil towards the Most High in their hearts."
These priests were the Levites. This is who Job was going to offer his burnt offerings to, the Levites. Only the children of Israel, even the children of Israel, they couldn't offer, they had to go to the priest then to offer any burnt offerings for either the atonement for their sins, a peace offering, whatever offering that it is that you came to offer up. You had to do it through the priest. You could not do that offering by yourself. You were not ordained to do that. Only the Levites were ordained to do that. And this is Job doing that. Read.
While I lived in this manner, the seducer could not bear to see the good I did, and he demanded the warfare of the Most High against me. And he came upon me cruelly. First he burnt up the large number of sheep, then the camels.
Burnt up. Done. Read.
Then the camels. Then he burnt up the cattle and all my herds. Or they were captured not only by enemies, but also by such as had received benefits from him.
So you had people who Job was even being gracious to and kind to, was even, when they saw all of this thing, Job's sheep burned up and his cattle burned up, they're like, okay, and enemies stealing this, they're like, okay, we're going to take 2. Because they're seeing now, they're wondering what's going on with Job. How come he's losing all of these? And they thought, okay, it's a giveaway. Let me help myself, even though Job was kind to them. Excuse me. Read.
And the shepherds came and announced that to me. But when I heard it, I gave praise to the Most High and did not blaspheme. And when the seducer learned of my fortitude, he plotted new things against me. He disguised himself as king of Persia and besieged my city.
So here comes Satan again. That old serpent disguising himself now as the king of Persia, besieging Job's whole city that he was king over. Read.
And after he had led off all that were therein, he spoke to them in malice, saying in boastful language, "This man Job, who has obtained all the goods of the earth and left nothing for others, he has destroyed and torn down the temple of the Most High. Therefore shall I repay to him what he has done to the house of the great God.
So here comes the deceiver again, deceiving the whole people now. This is Satan now. He came as the king of Persia now. It was just him now. This is him deceiving the people now, trying to get our army now to come against Job. So now he's using deceit and lies to make these people who Job was once hospitable to and gracious to come automatically come against him to say, see, look, he destroyed the temple of the great God. Come on, let's go get it. Read.
Now come with me, and we shall pillage all that is left in his house. And they answered and said to him, he has 7 sons and 3 daughters. Take heed lest they flee into other lands, and they may become our tyrants, and then come over us with force and kill us. And he said, Be not at all afraid. His flocks and his wealth have I destroyed by fire, and the rest have I captured. And behold, his children shall I kill. And having spoken thus, he went and threw the house upon my children and killed them. And my fellow citizens, seeing that was said by him had become true, came and pursued me and robbed me of all that was in my house. And I saw with mine own eyes the pillage of my house, and men without culture, without honor, sat at my table, on my couches, and I could not remonstrate against them.
So Job was seeing all the people that he was being nice to, that he put at his table, that was sitting down his couches, eating food, pillaging his house and plundering it. And Job couldn't do nothing. He was just like in shock. But knowing that he knew that this was going to happen. He knew that this was foretold him by the angel of the Most High, by the archangel. He knew all of this was going to happen because he burned down Satan's temple. Finish what you got here.
For I was exhausted like a woman with her loins let loose from the multitude of pains, remembering chiefly that this warfare had been predicted to me by the Most High through his angel. And I became like one who, when seeing the rough sea and adverse winds, while the laden of vessel in mid-ocean is too heavy, cast a burden into the sea, saying, I wish to destroy all this only in order to come safely into the city, so that I may take as profit the rescued ship and the best of my things. Thus did I manage mine own affairs.
Continue.
But there came another messenger and announced to me the ruin of my own children, and I was shaken with terror. And I tore my clothes and said, the Most High had given, the Most High had taken, as it had deemed best to the Most High. Thus has it come to be. May the name of the Most High be blessed.
Man, who can say that? Who can know that? you even right now, whatever we have right now, and we lose all of that. Can we still hold up our head high and still bless the Most High? A lot of people will say yes, but if that situation comes and you're in it, that answer, but let's finish off chapter 5. We're gonna stop at 6, and then next time we'll finish. There's 12 chapters. So let's finish off 5, stop at 6, and next week we'll finish off the rest. Continue on. Start.
Testament of Job, chapter 5, verse 1. And when Satan saw that he could riot, put me to despair, he went and asked my body of the Most High in order to inflict plague on me. For the evil one could not bear my patience. Then the Most High delivered me into his hands to use my body as he wanted.
So this is when you read in the book of Job now, the Most High was saying, listen, do anything that you want to. This is the Most High speaking to Satan. Do anything you want to, but just don't take his life. So Satan, this is what Satan did. Satan could only afflict Job with all kinds of swords on him and all that, but he couldn't kill him. He couldn't kill Job. Okay? And Satan was thinking, okay, I'm going to do all of this now. He's going to turn around and he's going to blame the Most High. He's going to look at the Most High and say, why are you making all of this happen to me? Wasn't I being righteous? Wasn't I being kind to everybody? Read.
Then the Most High delivered me into his hands to use my body as he wanted, but he gave him no power over my soul. And he came to me as I was sitting on my throne, still mourning over my children. And he resembled a great hurricane and turned over my throne.
So this is Satan now shape-shifting himself into a hurricane. Read.
And threw me upon the ground. And I continued lying on the floor for 3 hours. And he smote me with a hard plague from the top of my head to the toes of my feet.
From head to toe, Job was afflicted with all manner of sores that you could think of. He had it on. Read.
And I left the city in great terror and woe, and sat down upon a dunghill, my body being worm-eaten.
And brothers and sisters, you know what a dunghill is. Okay, we went over this one before already. All right? Some people call it doo-doo, or excrement. All right? Dung. All right, read.
My body being worm-eaten. And I wet the earth with the moistness of my sore body, for the matter flowed off my body, and many worms covered it. And when a single worm crept off my body, I put it back, saying, remain on the spot where thou hast been placed, until he who has sent thee order thee elsewhere.
I'm telling you, Job was faithful. Job was faithful. Listen, Job was faithful. Job was saying, listen, don't leave. Go back where you were until you're told to. Until the one that you put you here take you away. Okay? That's faithful. That's endured affliction. Okay? Read.
Thus I endured for several years, sitting on a dunghill outside of the city while being plague-stricken.
And when it says, thus I endured for several, it says several, but it's 7 years. Read.
And I saw with my own eyes my longed-for children carried by angels to heaven, and my humbled wife who had been brought to her bridal chamber in such great luxuriousness with spearmen as bodyguards. I saw her do a water carrier's work like a slave in the house of a common man in order to win some bread and bring it to me.
So Job is seeing his wife now, who before when Job was decked with all kind of, was rich and uppity, his wife now, he's seeing her being, carrying water just to get bread to eat. And he was like, man, he was okay with the state, but he was just looking at her to see that, hardness on her to see that she was living luxurious. And all of a sudden now that luxury was gone. She became as one of the slaves that Job had. Read.
And in my sore affliction I said, oh, that these braggart city rulers whom I sold not have thought to be equal with my shepherd dogs should now employ my wife as a servant. And after this I took courage again. Yet afterwards they withheld even the bread that it should only have her own nourishment. But she took it and divided it between herself and me, saying woefully, woe to me, for with he may no longer feed on bread, and he cannot go to the market to ask bread of the bread sellers in order to bring it to me that he may eat. And when Satan learned this, he took the guise of a bread seller, and if it was by chance that my wife met him and asked him for the bread, thinking that it was that sort of man.
So this is Satan now changing himself, disguising himself as a bread seller now, trying to deceive the wife of Job. Read.
But Satan said to her, give me the value, and then take what thou wishest. Whereupon she answered, saying, where shall I get money? Dost thou not know what misfortune happened to me? If thou hast pity, show it to me. If not, thou shalt see. And he replied, saying, if you did not deserve this misfortune, you would not have suffered all this.
So he was telling her, listen, you must have did something to deserve this. Read.
Now if there is no silver piece in thine hand, give me the hair of thine head, and take 3 loaves of bread for it.
So this is Satan deceiving her now to make her cut off her own hair, to give her for him to give her bread. knowing that when she did that, she's gonna look shameful, because that would be her beauty, covering her. Read.
So that ye may live on there for 3 days. And she said to herself, what is the hair of my head in comparison with my starving husband? And so after having pondered over the matter, she said to him, rise and cut off my hair. Then he took a pair of scissors and took off the hair of her head in the presence of all, and gave her 3 loaves of bread. Then she took them and brought them to me. And Satan went behind her on the road, hiding himself as he walked, and troubling her heart greatly.
So after this, and she did all of that, he just started to torment her the more and the more. Okay? Totally tricked her. And we're going to go into that and see exactly how she felt when she found out that she was actually tricked and deceived. Okay? So, we're going to stop right there. As I said, brothers and sisters, feel free to go home, read the rest of it, so that when you come, you will know exactly, you know, what's going to happen already. But let's stop right there because of time. And we will continue next week, okay, or next Shabbat.